So, you're staring down the T15 hands-on exam, and maybe you're feeling the pressure. Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to crack the code on this thing. I'm talking a clear, step-by-step guide that'll help you walk in there with total confidence and, more importantly, walk out with a pass. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to cover the foundational stuff you just have to know. Then, we'll build out a PySpark code blueprint you can use every single time. After that, we dive into the core of the exam, the transformations. Figure out how to save your output, and then wrap it all up with a super simple 5-step plan to lock in that success.
You know, when you first look at the exam requirements, it's easy to feel completely overwhelmed. And that's totally normal. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This exam isn't about being some kind of coding genius. Not at all. It's about spotting a pattern. And today, we are going to map out that exact pattern together.
Let's start with the foundations. Honestly, getting these concepts down is how you secure what I like to call the easy marks. These are points you can bank before you write even one line of PySpark code.
All right, first things first, you got to know your toolkit. These 4 AWS services are the building blocks for the whole exam. You've got S3, which is just where your files live. You've got EMR, which is the big engine that runs all your code. Then there's RDS or Redshift, the database where your final answer goes. And finally, IAMLs, which just handle all the permissions to make sure these things can talk to each other. Get comfortable with these 4.
And here's the best part. The exam actually gives you the instructions for setting this stuff up. Seriously, they give you these guides that walk you through it step by step. It's literally like following a recipe. So this is a guaranteed way to score points right off the bat.
So what is your actual job in this exam? Well, think of yourself as a translator. You're given some data, a list of instructions in plain English, and a picture of what the final tables should look like. Your one and only job is to translate those English instructions into PySpark code. That's really it.
Okay, let's get into the main event, the PySpark code itself. The great news is there's a blueprint, a structure you're going to use every single time. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Just follow this plan.
And look, I want to be super clear about this. You are not writing some huge complex program. The entire thing from start to finish boils down to just 5 or 6 distinct blocks of code. It is so much more manageable than you might think.
So, here's the first half of that blueprint. You will always start by reading the CSV files from S3 and loading them into something called a data frame, which, by the way, is just a fancy word for a table. Then you do some basic essential cleaning, like getting rid of any empty spots or duplicate rows. These 3 things are always your starting point.
All right, once the data is clean, we get to the most critical part of the exam, the transformations. This is where you apply all that business logic from the problem statement, and frankly, this is where you're going to earn most of your points. Okay, lean in for this part because I really can't stress this enough. This is the most important part. Your entire exam will probably only have 3 or 4 of these specific transformations. Mastering these few tasks is the absolute key to getting a great score. And here's exactly what that looks like in practice. They're going to ask you to do things like create new columns. You'll use something called with column. Or maybe filter out some data. You'll use filter. Or group things together. You'll use group by. These simple functions do all the heavy lifting for you.
All right, you've done the hard work, the data's prepped, it's cleaned, it's transformed, you're almost at the finish line. Now let's talk about how to save your results correctly to the database and lock in those final points.
So to save everything, you need to understand one little concept, the JDBC URL. It sounds super technical and intimidating, doesn't it? Well, it's not. All it is a connection string. Just think of it like the specific street address for your database. It tells your code exactly where to send the final results.
But why though? Why do we need this special thing? Why can't we just, save the file?
Well, here's the deal. Spark needs really clear directions. This specific format you see here, the JDBC write, is the standard official way to tell Spark exactly how to connect to that database and save your data as a nice, clean table. It just ensures your final answer lands right where it's supposed to. So you know what? We can take this whole thing we just talked about and we can boil it down into one simple, repeatable checklist. This is your game plan for exam day.
And here it is, your 5-step plan. Step 1, read the data. Step 2, clean the data. Steps 3 and 4 are where the real analysis happens. You apply your transformations and aggregations. And finally, step 5, you write that output to the database.
If you practice this exact sequence, you're going to be more than ready.
I want to leave you with this, because it's a really powerful thought, and it comes directly from the source material. This isn't about some kind of magic. It's about having a method. If you follow this guide, this process, just once or twice, you will build the muscle memory you need to pass with total confidence.
So, the only question left is, are you ready to put this into action? It's time to go from just watching and studying to actually doing. Go on, open up a file, and build your own Python script template based on this very plan. That's how you make this knowledge your own, and that's how you'll walk into that exam feeling ready for anything.